let's see. Is the screen? There's the screen shares. All right. So, yeah, well, we have a new deputy prime minister for reconstruction of Ukraine and minister for the restoration of Ukraine and the minister for communities, territories, and development. It's Oleksiy Kuleba. There are two Kulebas, so don't mix them up. This is Oleksiy Kuleba, not Mitro Kuleba. Yeah, and he's also very well-spoken Ukrainian politician. He is now the head of the ministry, and I would like to read out a bit from his words he gave to the Verhofner Rada and to all of us what his work is about. He's writing, I'm starting my work as the Deputy Prime Minister for Restoration of Ukraine, Minister of Communities and Territories Development of Ukraine. It's essential to update the state strategy for regional development, which will provide for functional territories and separate regional policies, considering the capacity of communities, humanitarian and social infrastructure, the demographic potential of the regions, and the impact of the war factor. Continue the reform of local governance to enhance the effectiveness of management, coordination, and cooperation in the context of war, taking into account all possible threats and challenges of wartime, both today and in the future. I'm grateful for the support of the People's Deputies and the Prime Ministers of Ukraine. I thank the President of Ukraine and the head of the Presidential Office for their trust and cooperation. I'm grateful for the regional military administrations, head of the regional army administrations, and the heads of communities for the quality of collaboration. I was honored to work with a professional team. I'm glad that I can continue to do so at another level. Unity and cooperation are our typical results and victory. Yeah, that's what Oleksiy Kuleba had to say when he started his job. And maybe let's start looking at some things that happened. It happened relatively much since we had last time the chance to talk about this. So I will just share another screen with this one. There is a project from the EU bank with support, and there were two new renovated schools in the Vinnytsia Oblast. They are open for the new school year, which was funded with the EU bank support. These schools are in Vinnytsia Oblast, the Lyceum number 2 in Strizatska village, and yeah, now it gets complicated. It's Miziakivsko Krotiski Lyceum in the village with the same name. I think we're gonna do it a bit interactive today. We know about the Dream Portal before, and maybe let's have a look into the Dream Portal and look over the project. So, some of you may know the Dream website, the digital restoration ecosystem for accountable management. So everything is basically very transparent and visible. We go here, choose a location. So this was which location? We copy and paste it here. This is this village in Vinnytsia region, and then we see overhaul of the Lyceum number 2. This village building, and yeah, like we already know from Dream, we get all the information about the project, the financial coverage, what happened, the context to all of this. We get some pictures about it. What was the budget, the funding, and yeah, international organizations. This is the program of the European Investment Bank, and here we see the Yeah, 40 million hryvnia, which basically flew in there. Yeah, they renovated the school. This was before, and I think this is a process of the restoration. Yeah, quite nice. We also can, if we want, look for the other school and go back to location. Put this one out. This one in. And here is the second part. We can see again in the budget, the funding sources. Here is the budget coming from the European Investment Bank. And yeah, we have some pictures, and like you can see, this school really needed some restoration and restoring. And yeah, this happened in the Vinnytsia region. We come to another point of restoration. I don't know if you can see my screen right now.
I think you need to change if you changed.
Okay. Was my screen visible with the Dream project? Or?
Oh, we can see the page you were on.
Okay, great. Okay. Kyiv here it is. All right. Can you see the page with the solar panels?
Yes.
Great. Yeah. Ukraine is going green, or at least trying to do. You know, the city is having problems, and not only the city, but Ukraine in general has problems with power outages, and yeah, they're trying to get more independent, partly independent, get some energy storages and so on. One example of this project is this so-called Kyiv condominium. Who knows Kyiv? Basically, I don't know if there's another picture here. No, it's basically two nice big towers with apartments. They put in this nice solar on the roof, and I had some numbers here for you. Just give me a second. Can't find it. No, not right now. Okay, then we need to stay with the article. But yeah, basically they put in an inverter with 24 kilowatt capacity. I remember they power not only the heat pumps but also the elevators for the house via the power storage or via the solar, and they basically have a partly standalone energy production for their needs. The cost of work per apartment was around 1,700 Ukrainian hryvnia, which is not much. It's maybe around $300. Yeah. So basically, yeah, they installed the solar on top and have some energy storage function. So then let's get to another point.
Are these projects funded by the EU? Do you know?
It's called the project DIM. I have to look it up in a moment, but I remember DIM. I think it's a Ukrainian. No, I don't find it right now. But it's a project sponsored by this DIM group. I'm not sure what they are exactly. Is anything written here? No, sadly not. We will research this later and give you more information of this if Here is it, the Green Dome program. So, yeah, the Green Dome program, give me a second. It's an energy efficiency fund. It looks like a Ukrainian one, but it's an energy efficiency fund, basically. Yeah, what it's sponsored by. All right. So, yeah, going back to Ukraine and the recovery and reconstruction. Sadly, we don't have any. Oh, maybe we can try this. Replace the screen sharing. And this was no more. No, I just closed this. Sorry.
While you're researching, Bionade, I have one question regarding green reconstruction of Ukraine. Do you think that will be a major thing in the future? Of course, like not the near future, because the war is still ongoing. But maybe if possible future in like the next 5 to 10 years. I personally remember, I don't know if you do, a signed memorandum of understanding from, I believe, September last year or so. For the viewers who don't know, a German energy company, Notus Energy, is planning a wind farm actually in the Chernobyl exclusion zone. And this wind farm, which they want to build there, has the capacity or has a planned capacity of providing power to 800,000 households in Kyiv in the surrounding area. And yeah, I don't know. I just wondered if you have your thoughts on this, Bionade.
Oh, it's a great point, Maurice. So, from my personal experience, I've seen, or I know personally people from Ukraine, from Kyiv, or from other cities, which basically bought an electric vehicle because it's also kind of an energy storage, right? If you have it at home in your garage and you load it and you have, I don't know, 2 times a day or 4-hour energy cycle, you just load up your car, right? And then everything else you can basically load from the car or from your wall box or what you have, right? So Ukraine is trying to adapt to these solutions, which are practical for them. I saw people using these, basically for the balcony where you put out the solar panels and try to get at least some electricity. I know it will not work in the winter great, but at least you get some charge and maybe will be able to charge your phone like a couple of times, right? About the wind energy, I haven't heard about this particular case or about this particular project, but seeing that Ukraine had before like a big, the big water, right, like the big dam where they had like generators which were producing hydroelectric power from the Dnipro, from the reservoir, from the big one in the north of Kyiv. I think Ukraine, especially with like the space and area Ukraine has, it's possible and it's a good region to keep developing, solar energy and renewable energies like wind energy. On the other side, obviously the war needs to stop because if you shoot a shell into like a solar farm, the damage will be, or a drone damage will be really, really bad.
Yeah,
So
quite extend them.
Yeah. So, can you see my screen share?
Yes, we can.
We see the PDF, yeah.
Yeah, great. So, the communities, basically, the regions of Ukraine are talking about the preparation for housing utilities sectors for the winter. And the 6th meeting of the headquarters will be held to prepare for the housing and utilities sectors for winter under martial law. Participants included representatives of the central authorities, head of the regional military administrations, local governments, and energy companies. Vasyl Skurakov, the first deputy minister for communities, territories, and development, emphasized the importance of completing winter preparations and the need for communities to be prepared for these or for emergencies. The meeting reviewed the situation in the regions where the installation of cogeneration units still need to be completed. Cogeneration units are basically small generators or containers which have generators in which will basically assist if there is no electricity. There are special containers with heat pumps and other things. I think, Maurice, you mentioned it sometimes when we provided these kind of things, also like heat boilers, right?
Oh yeah, there's a lot of like energy equipment. The one of the German federal states, one of the 16, North Rhine-Westphalia, I believe is the English name, right? They, for example, provided a couple of weeks ago mobile solar panels for charging and all that stuff.
Yeah. Good. So basically, cogeneration usage specific tasks were identified for such settlements to accelerate the implementation. The director of the Department of Public Utilities, Natalie Rodzianowska, nice name, said the regions are 99% ready for the winter. More than 18,800 boiler houses and that's a bit weird written, but 48,000, I think, central heating stations are prepared to supply heat. However, given the military risk, communities should prepare for a possible emergency and have an action plan in case of complete failure of the power system. The ministry also reported on the results of cooperation with international partners for the supply of cogeneration units and modular boiler houses, particular attention paid by regions near the combat zone. So there is a big planning in Ukraine about the winter. It's how you can imagine not a centralized effort because Ukraine is giant, and I think the right effort is here to go via the lowest level of governance, which are the regions itself, because the regions know what they need the most, and the preparing is on, and I think in Kyiv we're already like 3 degrees Celsius today. So heating is on everywhere. It's much needed. I don't know yet about shutdowns of electricity. I think it's still regular. But if anyone has any other information, please tell us. All right. So do we have another one? Oh yeah, the last and possibly most interesting and enticing news. And possibly some people will ask what kind of enticing news will there be. I and we all hope this will work out for the longer time. But Ukraine presents its roadmap for opening the airspace amid martial law. Ukraine basically, or the government basically talked about their strategic plan to maintain and reactivate the aviation infrastructure in Ukraine. They want to reopen the airport near Kyiv, Boryspil, and also the Lviv International Airport should be reopened. Plan to do is this in January 2025, which is, in my opinion, very, very ambitious. But please go for this. And Timo, my God, now we lost the visuals. Basically that was the news. Ukraine is opening the airports again in end of January 2025. We will see when the first flights go. I personally would love to fly to Kyiv. Would save a lot of time. But yeah, I'm not sure if I should like take a parachute as my hand luggage or my onboard luggage in the cabin. So yeah, but I would be very confident to fly to Lviv, for example. So yeah, we will see what happens. That was update from the Ukraine restoration efforts and reconstruction efforts.